Isaiah titled this chapter, The Burden of Egypt. And indeed, Egypt was burdened, mostly by the Assyrians, but also by internal wars and dissensions. But as we know, Isaiah isn't just talking about ancient Egypt, which had been a superpower for centuries. He's circling back to a moment in his timeline, using Egypt as a type of another superpower in the last days. Egypt was the land of Ephraim, where he and his brother Manasseh were born. Egypt was a land of plenty, where millions of covenant people lived and eventually built temples. But as Isaiah was prophesying of both his day and the last days, we need to identify the Egypt of our day. This modern Egypt will also be the land of Ephraim and Manasseh. It'll also be a land of plenty, where millions of covenant people live. It'll be a land of temples, and it will also be a superpower, protecting liberty and freedom of worship. In the last days, it'll be the land of covenant Israel. Isaiah's Egypt for the last days is the land that all nations shall flow unto. It's the great melting pot of Jews and Gentiles alike. It's America. But wait, Isaiah is prophesying evil for this nation. The word burden implies a sentence of doom, like a prison sentence, and Isaiah even tells us how this will come about. I'll read the first 4 verses of chapter 19 using newer translations. Listen carefully. The Lord is riding on a swift cloud and is about to come to Egypt. The idols of Egypt will tremble at his presence, and the heart of the Egyptians will melt within them. I will stir up the Egyptians against the Egyptians. They will fight brother against brother, and neighbor against neighbor, city against city, and state against state. Then the spirit of the Egyptians will be demoralized within them, and I will confound their strategy so that they'll resort to idols and ghosts of the dead and to mediums and spiritists. Moreover, I will deliver the Egyptians into the hand of a cruel master, and a mighty king will rule over them, declares the Lord God of hosts. Things don't look good for the Egyptians. The Lord will sweep in as if riding on a thunderstorm in great displays of power. And when he rises up in his power, meaning when the day of the Lord of hosts begins, the Egyptians' hearts will melt within them, and they'll fight brother against brother, neighbor against neighbor, city against city, and state against state. The nation will be demoralized, and the faith of many will begin to evaporate. They'll turn away from God and begin cleaving to false spirits for guidance. Then, as if that's not enough, they'll be delivered into the hand of a cruel master, and a mighty king will rule over them. This cruel master, as Isaiah reveals again and again, is the Assyrian king. He conquered Egypt anciently, and a new Assyrian will conquer much of America in the last days. In fact, all but the holy seed in Zion. Isaiah doesn't say what will cause these internal wars, but he does say it'll be brother against brother and state against state. Early in the timeline, he said that thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war. We might compare this to the Civil War, but this will be more tangled, more complex, more insidious. It'll not only be values against values and morals against morals, it'll often be wrong against more wrong, half-truth against less truth, dark against darker. Even the leaders, or perhaps especially the leaders, will be utter fools. For even the wisest of them all will give absurd counsel. In Isaiah's timeline for the last days, he says that Egypt will fall, not just because of natural disasters, and not just because of internal warfare, and not just because of an invasion, but because they lose faith in the God who would have saved them, the Holy One of Israel, Jesus Christ. Essentially, too many of them will apostatize from the faith that once raised them up and nurtured them for centuries. This is the burden of Egypt in the last days. Americans will war one with another. They'll turn to mediums and false spirits for guidance. They'll slip into darkness, and darkness will war with darkness. And in their weakened condition, a cruel master will invade and conquer them. Next time, we'll learn about the great drought that will accompany this burden of Egypt. I'm Curtis Taylor with the Words of Isaiah.